So, good morning, everyone. We have started with unit number 3, that is relational algebra or relational query languages in the past few days, that is yesterday and last Wednesday. So far what we have covered in that particular chapter is we have seen what is primary key, what is super key, what is candidate key, and how a foreign key is referred and how the data can be fetched, right? Then we started with some of the operators. In that, we have seen selection operator, projection operator, and Cartesian product. So this is what we have done so far. Actually, I said that I will be uploading the PPT of unit number 3 by yesterday, but there were some issues in the PPT. So I will just change all of the issues and then I will upload it in the e-portal maybe by tomorrow, not by today, but you will get it by tomorrow for sure. Right, so you can refer and revise the topics whatever you want, right? So just bear for that particular day and I will be uploading that particular PPT by tomorrow in your e-content. Fine. So that is what I wanted to share. So let's start with our session and let me share my screen. Fine, I think my screen is visible, right? And what we started with yesterday was relational algebra. This is what we started with, right? So let us go through them very quickly. So relational algebra operations, we started with selection and projection and cross products. So let us see what are they actually. So selection means we are actually firing the select query, but that query has some condition. We are mainly focusing on condition, and that condition can be described using equal to, not equal to, less than, greater than, less than equal to, and greater than equal to symbols. As well as if you want to have two different conditions together, we can have AND operator or operator. Inverted V means AND, V shape means OR. This is what selection operator is. For example, we said that I want all deposit data which belongs to branch verse. So how we do write it? We write sigma, then the column name equals to the value of the condition. Into round bracket, we provide the table name or relation name. So this is how this syntax goes, right? Similarly for this, if we want to use two different conditions in one particular notation, then how we write is sigma A equals to B. This is the first condition. AND operator is denoted by inverted V, and then second condition, that is D greater than 5, and a R, that is table name or relation name. Similarly, the projection operator is mainly used to fetch specific columns from the table. We do not mainly focus on conditions, but we focus on particular column names, that specific columns that we want to retrieve from a table. The syntax will be like this: I, and into bracket whatever columns you want to fetch from the table, and then the table name. Either you do this round bracket in this column names, it is not compulsory, because you can see in this example that even if you do not provide the round brackets, that is okay in the projection, but you need to provide the round brackets while defining the table name or the relation name, right? So this is what projection operator is. Then if I want to combine selection as well as the projection, how we can do it? Let us say take an example of display the enrollment number, name, and city of IT branch students. So the condition is IT branch students, and I want to display only two columns from this particular table, that is name and enrollment number, and this branch should be IT. So this is what the combination of selection and projection is. So how to write the query? First, write down the projection operator, that is you project or you select two specific columns, that is enrollment number, name, and city. That is what I need to actually display, right? And then into bracket, you will write down the selection operator. So whenever you have combined type of query, first you are going to write down the projection, and then into bracket, you are going to write down the selection operator, right? So remember this rule, that is you have to write down such type of queries in this particular format, right? Then we have a cross product. What is cross product? Cross product is just simply a joining of each row of one table with each and every row of other table. That is what you should remember in short, that in cross product or Cartesian product, what we are doing, we are joining each row of one table with each and every row of other table. That is what cross product is. For an example, we took an example like this. We have a student table as well as result table, and we are having 3 columns in student, 2 columns in result. And if you can see, the roll number and the roll number, both the columns are same in both the tables. So if we want to come join these two columns, then what we are going to do, we are going to write down the table name dot column name for the common columns. If you have the same spelling for the columns, then what you are going to do is you are going to write down the same or the table name for the same columns. That is why you can differentiate both the columns actually. So how the cross product will go, it will first join the first row with the first row of other table, then it will join the first row of one table with the second row of this other table. Similarly, the second row of the first table will be joined with the first row of the second table, and the second row of the first table will be joined with second row of the second table. So this is how a Cartesian product works, right? So till here everything is clear, guys. Till here everything is clear. Any doubts? Anyone? Is there any doubts? Anyone? You can raise it if you have any doubts. Till here, any doubts? Anyone? No doubts? I am moving ahead then. Fine. So let me move ahead. So the next one is division operator. So division is simply like, I would say, we are comparing some of the data and fetching the compared data. Let's see what actually it is. So division is symbolized by this particular division operator. Notation will be relation 1 divided by relation 2. So table 1 divided by table 2. But for division, what should be the condition? The condition is this: attributes of relation 2, that means the divider, right, is a proper subset of relation 1. That means relation 2 must have all the columns that are already available in table number 1. So table 1 is a universal table, and table 2 will be the subset of that particular table 1. So again I'm repeating what actually it should have. All the columns of table 2 must be present in the table 1. That is what proper subset is, right? So table 1 will be your universal table, and table 2 will be your subset table. That means all its columns are already available in table number 1. So now how this operation works? Operation is the output of the division operator will have attributes. The output of attributes will be equal to all attributes of relation 1 minus all attributes of relation 2. So remember this rule. What actually it is? All the attributes of relation 1, that is table 1, all the columns, minus all the columns of table 2. So we are going to subtract something. So how that subtraction will go, we'll see it in the example in a few minutes, right? So just remember this rule, that for attributes, what will be the output? Table 1 attributes minus table 2 attributes. And for tuples, what will be the output? Rows in relation 1 which are associated with all tuples in relation 2. Again repeating this particular statement, what will be the output of tuples or rows? All the rows in relation 1 which are already in association, that are linked with all the tuples of relation 2. That means whatever tuples there are available in relation number 2 or table 2, all must be somewhere linked with the tuples of table 1. It's quite confusing, right? Because we won't be able to get what actually this particular statement wants to say. So let us take a simple example and try to understand what actually this particular statement wants to say us, right? So let's see the example. So this is what the example is. We have a table which is having SNO and PNO columns, and these are some of the values or tuples of that A table. Then we have a B1 table, which the table is having a PNO column and a data P2. So if you can see, PNO is already available in A. So this can be divided. A divided by B1 is possible, right? Similarly, let us say B2. B2 is again having PNO. So yes, so PNO is there. So again, this division is also possible, because we are only looking for the columns that are already available in table 2 that should be the subset of table 1. So table 1 is having more columns, and PNO is one of the columns of that particular table A. So this is the subset. And let us see B3. Yes, so B3 is again having a PNO column, and it can also be the subset of this particular table A. So the first rule that actually this says that all attributes of relation 2 is a proper subset of relation 1 already gets satisfied here. So what we can do is we can divide A by B1, we can divide A by B2, we can divide A by B3. So we can divide A by all the three different tables. Clear, guys? This much? Is this clear? What I'm talking? What I have shown you? Is this clear? Everyone? Is this clear, guys? What we are doing? I will just repeat one more time. For division, what we will see is that the divider, the denominator part should be available in the numerator part. So here B1 will be your denominator and A will be your numerator. So denominator is already available in numerator. Yes. Here again, yes. Here again, yes. So we can divide them. And the numerator is also having one more column. So that is why this is called the superclass or super table or universal table. And these are all called, can be called as child table, the subset tables. Right. So what could be the first answer? I want A divided by B1. Let us see. I want the answer for A divided by B1. So what actually it is saying that, first of all, we said that PNO is available. So we are not going to consider regarding the columns. We are now focusing on the values, that is P2. So first we need to find out which tuples have P2. So this tuple is having P2. Then this tuple is having a P2. This tuple is having a P2. And this tuple is also having a P2. Right? So every other else, we are not having any P2. Only this tuples have the P2. So this will be the output of A divided by B1. That means we are going to pick up the remaining columns value from the table 1 after division. Again, I am repeating, what we are doing actually is A divided by B1 means we are first checking where this particular value lies in table 1. So this value lies at these 4 positions, right? And now, what is the column name that is common in both the tables? That is PNO, this one. So we are going to discard it. We are not going to see that particular column. We are only going to see the remaining columns, right? So the remaining column is only SNO. So now we are going to fetch the data of this SNO that is relevant with this particular P2. So we are having S1, S2, S3 and S4. So these are the only values which are matching with P2. So we are going to pick up only these values, right? So we are going to pick up the data from table number 1 and we are going to discard the common column, the column that is the subset of the the master table, we are going to discard it in this particular part. So the output will be SNO, S1, S2, S3 and S4. Clear? We will first compare the value. So wherever values are matched, we'll pick up those rows and then we will discard the common column and we'll pick up all the remaining column values and we'll put it in one set. So this is what the answer of A divided by B1 is. Clear, guys? Any doubts in this? Any repetition required? Tell me anything. If you have any doubts, any repetition is required, just tell me right now. So this type of questions are asked in GTU exams. That is why I'm asking if there's any doubt, just ask me. We can clear it right now. Any doubts? No. So let me go to the next one. Give me the answer for this one. A divided by B2. Everyone, give me the answer for A divided by B2. I'm just removing all the highlights, so it's quite clear. What would be the answer of A divided by B2? So B2 is this and A is this one. So give me the answer for A divided by B2. S1, S2, S3, S4, S5. Okay. S1, S2, S4, S5. Okay. S1 to S5. Okay. So almost everyone is giving answer like S1 to S5, right? Fine. Let's see. So let us see the rule first. What is the rule for tuples? Tuples in relation 1 are associated with all tuples of relation 2. So what actually we want to see here is in A by B2, what we are going to see, we are going to compare these two tables, right? A and B2. So what are the values of B2? P2 and P4, right? So now let us check where P2 and P4 lies. So P2, P4, P2, P2, P2 and P4. So there, no, and this is the P4. So at this particular places, that means in this particular row, in this row, yes, this row and this row, the value P2 and P4 lies. But the rule says that P2 and P4 must be associated with each and every, or let us say each relation or each tuple of this particular column must be associated with the values of table 2. So let us say S1 is associated with P2. Yes. S1 is also associated with P4. So we will consider this. Then S2 is associated with P2, but S2 is not associated with P4. So we are not going to consider this. Then S3 is associated with P2, but S3 is not associated with P4. So we are not going to consider this. S4 is associated to P2 as well as P4. So we are going to consider this. So we are going to consider only two answers, that is S1 and S4, because the rule says that whatever tuples we have in table number 1 must be associated with each and every tuple of the dividend, that is B2. But here some of the tuples are not associated with all the data. So we are not going to consider that particular thing. Clear, everyone? Is this clear? So answer will be this two, because S5 is not linked with P2, so we are not going to consider this also. So your answer will be S1 and S4. Remember the rule in division that what you are going to give it as a output, the thing will be each and every tuple of table 1 must be linked with each and every tuple of table number 2. Then and then the division operator will work. Otherwise, it will not work. Clear, everyone? So S1 and S4 will be the final answer. Clear? Is this clear now? Is it clear, guys? Okay, if it is clear, give me the answer for A divided by B3. Give me the answer for A divided by B3. Okay, I got the answers from different students. Okay, so everyone is saying S1 is the only answer. Okay, so Amit, can you unmute yourself? Amit Yadav,
Yes, sir.
can you explain why S1 will be the answer?
In S1, B3 is pin number P1, P2, P4 is a three number in only S1. But
Okay, yes.
S2 માં ખાલી P2 S2 માં ખાલી P1 P2 છે એટલે P4 નથી એમાં
Okay,
અને S3 માં ખાલી P2 જ છે અને S4 માં P2 P4 છે એટલે એક વસ્તુ ઘટે છે ત્યારે S1 માં બધે છે P1 P2 P4.
right. So we are comparing all these values with each of the tuples. So P1, P2, P4 is available in S1, but in S2, only P1, P2 is available, P4 is not available. So we are not considering this thing. In S3, only P2 is available, but P1 and P4 is not available. So again, we are not going to consider this. Then in S4, P2 and P4 are available, but P1 is not available. So all the three are available only with S1. So we are going to consider only S1 as an output, right? So I think now it is clear with everyone that how division operator works. Clear, guys? Everyone? Everything? Is it clear now? Everyone? What actually it is and how we are going to deal it? Great. Fine. So let's move ahead with the next topic. That is rename operator. And it is symbolized by this particular symbol. We can call it as rho. The name is rho, or we can say slightly slanted P. We can also call it like that. But you can remember the symbol is P type, but P is quite vertical and quite horizontal. So it's between the slanting or diagonal. Diagonally, P we can draw for this particular rename operator, right? So what operations we can do? It renames the existing relation. So I think we covered rename operator in the last lab, right? All the students rename old table name to new table name, if everyone remembers. Parthiv, sorry Parthiv, I didn't see your question. You could have just stopped me in between by unmuting yourself. Let me just go with your question. Is B1 divided by B2 possible? Let's see. B1 divided by B2. See, B1 divided by B2 is not possible because B1 is not the super table or universal table. It should have some other column other than PNO also. Then it would be possible. Right? So it is not possible. Clear, Parthiv? Yes, Keval, your thinking was right. It is not possible. Yeah, Parthiv, is it clear? Okay. So let's move ahead. So everyone remembers the rename operator of lab session. We converted the name of table from old name to other name using a syntax called, I'm writing in my chat in the chat box, rename old table name to new table name. I think everyone remembers this syntax. Right, so this is what we changed the table name from old table name to new table name without disturbing the available data, without disturbing the existing schema. We are changing the table name, changing the name of the table, right? So the same thing, if you want to perform in relational algebra, we are using this particular symbol. And how it works, let's say P X R renames relation R to X. That means X is a new name and R is a old name. Here, P or row, we can say row X, that is a new name, and into bracket R is a old name. Then let us say renames relation R to X and its attributes to A1, A2. So let us say I have a table, and in that table I have 4 columns, and while changing the name of a particular table, I also want to change the name of the columns. So what I will do, row, that is P, X, the new name, and here I will provide the new column name, and into bracket I will provide the old table name. So this is the other way you can change the name of the columns as well as the table. We will see the example in the next slide. So don't worry regarding the this particular theory part, but just try to remember, you can change the name of a table, you can change the name of a table, along with you can change the name of the columns. So this is how you can change the columns and rename all the attributes of a relation. So if you want to change only the names of the column of the existing table, not the new table, you can use this particular syntax. You can provide the new column names for each of these columns of a particular table. This is the table, the old table, and we are going to deal with only old table. So this is how it works, right? You change the table name, you change the table name, also the column name, and you change the column name of the existing table without changing its name. So 3 ways you can rename a particular table and its schema. Let's see examples. So let us take an example. There is a book table with title, author, year, and price. These are the 4 columns. So what I am going to do here in the first here is, I have taken the symbol, that is row or P. Then the new table name is temp. This is the new table name. I have changed the column names also from title to B name, from author to A name, from year to P year, and from price to B price, and that is for this old table, that is book. So what I have done, I have changed the table name as well as I have changed the column names for that particular table. But we need to remember one rule, that if we want to change the column names, then what it should have, the new table name or new table should have the same number of columns as of the old table. That is the rule, simple rule, right? So temp is having 4 columns, book is also having the 4 columns. If I do not write B price here, let us say take an example, right? So what it will do, either it will take the old name, that is price, or it will put it as empty. It depends on the compiler of your database. It is not for sure what it will put at this particular 4th place. If I am not writing this here for price, either it will fetch price automatically from the old table, or it will put it as empty. It will not have any title for that particular column. So make sure if you are renaming it, rename fully or zero. Do not rename at all, right? The next example is just changing the name of the table. So what I'm doing, row, the symbol of rename, new name, and old name. That is what we have done. P temp book. So book will be named now as a temp. Then if I want to change only the column names of this particular book, I want to change the column names of this particular book. Then what I'm writing, I'm not giving any new name here, but I will just provide the column names. And I will provide, instead of R, it will be here book. It is misprinted, right? So it will be here book, right? So this is the rename operator. Clear, guys? You rename a particular table, you rename a particular column and its table, and you rename only a particular columns of a particular table. So this is how you can rename. Is this clear, guys? Is this clear, everyone? Rename operator. Any doubts in rename operator, anyone? Is there any doubt? Anyone? Anyone, any doubt? Okay, so let's start with the next topic. The next is natural join, or the other name is inner join. Now, what is joining? Joining is something called merging two tables. We have seen cross product, right? So what is cross product? Each row of one table is joined with each row of other table, right? So similarly, the Cartesian product can be the subset of natural join or joins. What we are going to do actually in join is we will merge two tables and we will discard all the irrelevant data from the tables. Remember two rules. What we are going to do, we are going to merge two tables and then we will discard or remove all the irrelevant or unwanted values from that particular merged table. That is what join is. In simple words, joining, that is combining two tables into one and then removing all the unwanted data or rows from the particular merged table, right? So let us see the definition, what actually it is saying. Symbol is this. You need to remember because such type of queries are asked in GTU. So where you need to show the symbol. So notation will be relation 1 R1 joining with relation 2 R2. So R1 this symbol and R2. So now what is its actual task? Let us say natural join will retrieve consistent data from multiple relations. As I said, we are going to deal with all the wanted and relevant data. All the irrelevant as well as unwanted data will be removed from the table, the merged table. So what it does actually, it combines records from different relations. As I said, it is combining the records from different relations that satisfy a given condition. So joins are always done on a particular condition. It is not directly done without any particular, I would say, condition. If you do not provide any condition while joining the tables, then it is ultimately a Cartesian product. But if you provide a condition, then it is more than the Cartesian product. That means we will first combine and then we will remove the unwanted data. So let us see the steps, what actually it is following. Step one is, as I said, it performs the cross product or Cartesian product. So merging of tables is done here first. Both the tables are merged into one single table. Step two, it deletes inconsistent tuples or unwanted rows in short, right? So it deletes unwanted rows. And lastly, it removes an attribute from duplicate attributes. So it also removes all the columns that are duplicated in the merged table. So it does three tasks. First, it performs the cross product. Second, it deletes all the unwanted rows. And third, it removes all the unwanted or duplicated columns. So three tasks are done by this particular join operation. And this is what we will get as an output. If you can see here, here table 1 joined with table 2, we are going to get somewhat like intersection. That means what is common in both of them. That is what the main task of join is. We will see it in an example properly. But there is one important rule that you need to remember whenever you are using joins. This is the rule. To perform a join, there must be one common attribute or column between two tables or two relations. What does it say? If I want to perform join operation, then the two tables which are going to get joined should have one common column. As we said in this division operator, if you can remember, let me go to division. So if I want to divide, what I said, there should be P and O in this A, then and then division is possible. So similarly, if two tables are different, there is no issue, but both the tables must have one column that will be common between both the tables. That is the rule for join. So remember this rule because this rule is very much important in your practicals also. So make sure you try to remember this rule. There should be one common column or attribute between two relations if you want to perform a join. Clear guys? This is what join is. Clear this with this part? Is this clear till here? What is join? Merging of table, removing of unwanted data, and removing of unwanted or duplicated columns. Clear with this much part? And one rule is that you should have one common column between two tables for joining purpose. Right? So let's see a simple example. Consider these two tables. So do we have a common column for joining? Yes or no? Do we have a common column for joining purpose? Yes or no? Yes, we do have the common column, right? The common column is roll number. So yes, joining is possible. So now how joining works? Let's see that thing. So in join, the first step is you perform the Cartesian product. So anyone just let me take one name. Bhavesh, can you unmute yourself? Bhavesh, can you unmute yourself? No, I don't want answer in the chats. That's why I want the answer directly. Can you unmute? Okay, Keval, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you just provide me the Cartesian product of these two tables?
Yes, sir.
Give me the Cartesian product then.
1 0 1 C8.
Okay.
2 they are 1 0. પછી 101 CE 103 and 9.
Okay.
102 meet ME 1018.
Okay.
102 meet ME 1039.
Great. Exactly. Very good. So what is the Cartesian product? We are merging the two tables by each row of one column with the each and every row of other table. So this is the output of the particular Cartesian product where we have the two common columns. So what we have done, we have just added the table name to those columns to differentiate both of them. Right. So this is step number 1. Now, what is the step number 2? Remove inconsistent data. So what actually inconsistent data is now? Inconsistent data means, let us see the example. So it will be quite clear easily to you. See, what it has highlighted? It has highlighted the two common columns, that is roll number of student table and roll number of result table. Right. Now it will compare where 101 is available in this. Yes, it is available. 101 is 102 is available in this. No, it is not available. 103 is available in this. No, it is not available. So the output will be only the common data from the both the tables. That means wherever this data will match, then and then it will fetch the data. So 101 is there, but 102 is not available in this table, and 103 is not available in this table. So both these rows will be automatically discarded, right? So it is going to compare the common columns and match the values. Whatever values are matched, those rows will be kept, others will be removed. So this is the output. See, it has only matched this particular row because 103 is not there. So we are discarding this. Here 101 is there, but here it is 102. So discard this. Here both are not there. So it is discarding it. So this is how the join is done. So it is removing all the unwanted tuples in this step number 2. Clear guys, this thing? Is it clear? What it did? It is comparing the data of the common columns, and wherever there is a match, it will pick up those rows. All the other rows which has mismatch of the data will be directly discarded. Clear? So this is the step number 2. And now The step number 3 is remove the duplicated attribute or removes an unwanted attribute. Here an unwanted attribute is this roll number because both the roll numbers are same. So we don't require this one. So we'll remove this and we'll have only this much. 101 Raj C and his SPI is 8. Clear this thing, guys? Is it clear? Or should I repeat it again one more time? Is this clear, guys? Any doubts? Any repetition required? Okay, step 3. I will repeat all the steps. Don't worry. Yash. Once more. So it is quite clear with everyone. Let's see again. So we are having two tables and there is a common column called roll number in both the tables. So we can go for join. That is for sure. So first rule is satisfied. The second rule is the step number 1. We need to perform the Cartesian product. So we merged both the tables with 1 and 1 row mapping. So this is what we got, right? Then in the step number 2, it is removing inconsistent data. That means it is going to compare these two columns, this and this. So it is matching 101, 101. Okay, it is matched. That means 101 is available in this table as well as in this table. Then 101 and 103. But 103 is not mapping. So this won't be considered. Then 102 and 101. But 102 is already not the part of the second table. So we are not going to consider this thing, right? Then 102 and 103 completely mismatch. So we are again going to discard it. So what we are going to accept, we are going to consider only this row. So that is what the output of second step. Now in the third step, what we are going to do, we can see that there is a roll number column 101. There is again one roll number column 101. And the data of both the columns are same. So what we can do in step number 3, we can remove the duplicated data. So we will remove either of the columns from the table. So in step 3, removes an attribute and we are removing any of the particular column from the table. But generally what it will do, it will remove the later column. That is the column that coming in the next sequence. It will not remove the first sequence column. So this is what your final answer of join is. Clear, everyone? Yash, is it clear now? Yeah, any other doubts? Anyone? No doubts? So let's move ahead with the next topic of join. So if you are going to perform natural join, you can perform it in 3 different ways. Either you use left outer join, this is the symbol. Either you use right outer join, this is the symbol. And either you use full outer join, this is the symbol. Now what is left outer, right outer and full outer? So why do we use it? The reason is in natural join, some records are missing. If we want that missing records, we can use these 3 options. Now what does this actually wants to say us? Let us say in this particular join, what records are missing? These records. This 103 record, this 102 record. So all these records are missing in this particular join. But actually I want to display this type of records to the user. So still, if a natural join cannot provide such results, we can still display those data using these 3 types of joins. So that is why it is saying, if you want to display some missing records, we can use these 3 joins: left outer, right outer, and full outer. Let us see what it is actually. So in left outer join, what we are going to do is we will display all the table, all the tuples, that is all the rows of left table, and we will only display the common data of right tuple or right table actually. So let us say display all the tuples of left relation, even though there is no matching, then also we are going to display. That means either the data is matched or not, we are going to display the data of the left table. All the data of left table will be displayed. That is what left outer join says. Display all the data of left table along with the right table. Now, if the right table do not have values for that particular left table, then we put null at that particular place. If we do not have a particular data, right, for a particular column on the left side, what we'll do in the right side, we'll put null as the value. Let us see the example. It will be quite clear for all. So this is the table. There is a table called class and there is a table called class underscore info. So what are the columns? Here it is ID, name, ID, address. Can we join? Yes or no? First of all, can we perform join operation? Yes or no? And why? Can we perform join operation? Yes or no? And why? Why can we can perform a join operation? What is the reason we can perform join operation? Anyone? Yes, because we have column ID common in both the tables, right? So now what I want to do is I want to perform the left outer join. So what actually the rule says, it should display all the data of left table and all the relevant data of right table. And wherever there is no data available for right table in the left part, then we will put the null. So let's see. We are going to perform left outer join on class and class info. So this is what the final answer would be. What actually it is saying? We merged 1 Abhi Delhi, 2 Adam 2 Mumbai, 3 Alex 3 Chennai. But here the ID is 4 and here the ID is 7. So there is no data for 4, ID number 4. So what we did null. Right, so there is no ID 4 in the class info table, so we put null here, and there is no address for ID number 4, so we put null here. Similarly, here it is 5, but there is no 5 here, so Ashish, and for class info ID it will be null, and for address again it will be null. So whatever data is not available in the right table for the left table, we are going to put null. So here data of 4 and 5 is not available. So what we did, we put null instead of 4 and 5 data. Right? We are not going to keep it empty, but we are going to write null. So this is just the example of left outer join. It is not used practically in your lab sessions, but it is just the theory part. Right? Because we cannot show the unwanted data in the output. That is totally, I would say, hazardous, as well as complex thing, as well as useless thing for a database administrator. So this is just for the theory part, that if you want to use left outer join, then what it will do, it will display all the data of left table. So it has displayed all the data of class table and all the relevant data of class info table. But wherever the data was not found, it has displayed null. Right? So this is what left outer join is. Clear, guys? What is left outer join? Is it clear? What is left outer join? We are not going to use it practically. It is just for the theory part, that show all the data of left table and put null wherever the data is a mismatch for the right table. Clear? Fine. So second is right outer join. Similarly to left outer join, now it is a right outer join. What does right outer join says? Display all the tables or tuples or rows of right table, even though there is a no matching tuple in the left. So in left outer join, what we are doing? We are displaying all the left tuples and all the right tuples, but there is a mismatch, then we are putting null. Now here in right outer join, what we are going to do? We are going to display all the right tuples and we are going to put all the left tuples also, but there where there is a mismatch, we are going to have null values. So that totally reciprocal of left outer join is right outer join. Here we shown all the left rows, and here we are going to show all the right rows. Let's see the example. Again, we can join. We have ID as a same column or a common column. So how the right outer join will work? Let's see. It will show all the data of right table. So let's see all the data of right. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8. Yes, and Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Noida, and Panipat. So all the data of right table has been displayed. Right? Now, all the relevant data of the left table will be also displayed. So 1, 2, 3 is matching. So 1, 2, 3 data has been shown. But wherever there is a mismatch, what it has shown? The null. Right? So 7 and 8 is not available in class table, but it is having 4, 5. So it is a mismatch. So for a mismatch, we are going to display null. So that is what this right outer join will be. Clear? Clear with this? This is what right outer join is. Display all the data of right table and relevant data of left table, and wherever there is a mismatch, display null or write down null. Clear, guys, with this? So now, what will be the full outer join? Anyone? Give me the answer for the same question. What can be the full outer join? Give me the answer in the chat box. What can be the full outer join? I want the answer in the chat box. Yes, exactly. Combination of left and right. Null at both the sides where data is not available. Exactly, Parthiv. All data will display, and it will display 1, 2, 3 data of both table. Okay, so I've got few answers. So let's see what is full outer join then. I will take 2 more minutes and we'll complete this topic. Okay, so full outer join means display all the tuples of both the relations. In short, we are going to display both the tables, nothing else. Wherever there is no values or a value mismatch, we will put null. That is what the rule of full outer join states. So what actually it is? It is addition of or appending of left outer join plus right outer join. So it is symbolized by this particular format, right? So let us take an example directly. So we are having two tables, the same tables. Here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here it is 1, 2, 3, 7, 8. So these two data are mismatched. Else the first three rows are matched. So what actually this full outer join will do? Let us see. So what it has done, wherever there is a match, it has shown the data, right? Now wherever there is a mismatch, it has put the null. You can see. So what we have done actually, we have merged both the output tables of left outer join and right outer join. If you see what is right outer join, here it is null in the first part, and in left outer join, the null is in the right part. So what we have done, we have merged both of them here as a final output. This is full outer join, merging both the tables and putting null wherever there is no particular data for a particular row. Clear with this, guys? Full outer join. Is this clear, everyone? Any doubts in full outer join? Any doubts, students? Anyone? Any doubts? Anyone can raise it now, right now. Any doubts in full outer join, or in left outer join or right outer join? So actually what we are going to do in left sessions is we are going to work with only natural join. We are not going to deal with left outer, right outer or full outer join. That is what I think and I believe. That is not required at all in practicals. Clear with this, guys? Everyone? Any doubts? Okay, then we can end our session here, right? We can end our session, and we'll be meeting tomorrow for the lab lectures, and I'll be meeting B batch for the lab session at 12 o'clock, right? So till then, stay safe, stay home. Have a great day, students. Thank you very much.